Hello and welcome back to our Lord of the Rings LCG solo progression series. And today's quest is the Nightmare version of the 7th level, which was the second scenario in the Khazad-dûm Deluxe expansion. A quick reminder, in this series we're playing through each quest in chronological order of the game's initial release, and we'll only be using player cards that were available at the time of this quest release. I'm calling this deck the 7th Army. Couldn't really think of a good deck name, and so I just thought about how similar this deck is to a deck that I built in a previous quest. It was for the Battle of Five Armies. I had a deck called the 6th Army that included Prince Imrahil. It's the only other time we've used him, and that deck also had Beravor, but it had Tactics Boromir instead of Thalin. But a similar deck in that it had low-cost allies and included fresh tracks and had Sneak Attack Gandalf, so a little bit similar, and since we're playing the 7th level, we'll just call this the 7th Army. This is not a particularly difficult quest for Nightmare. It's harder than Into the Pit, but still the first two Nightmare quests in the Duradel cycle are definitely a good bit easier than the first cycle. I do want to mention that I made a rules mistake previously. I think it was in the Nightmare version of Journey Along the Anduin, where I used fresh tracks against a Crabane. I forget what they're called, but it's a one health bird. It's a flock of birds. It surges. Eastern Crows, that's what it's called. And so obviously whenever Eastern Crows is revealed and added to the staging area, fresh tracks in response can damage and kill that enemy. But I said that it would cancel the surge. That's not true. Thalin would cancel the surge because you actually damage Eastern Crows before it's added to the staging area. Expecting Mischief would cancel the surge because it would destroy it before it's added to the staging area. So any when revealed, any surge. But Fresh Tracks is a response that's played after it's added to the staging area. So I just I did that one time. It should have resulted in a surge, which I don't think it would have affected the playthrough, but that is something I shared as a rule that is incorrect, and I wanted to clarify that I was wrong on that. And I actually discovered that when I was playing through this, and I just had assumed, I think, that it was like Expecting Mischief. I had locked in my mind as such, but when I read after an enemy is added to the staging area, I thought, wait, that's not true. And so just a quick research, and I had made that mistake. Well, let's get to the quest and see how we do. And we'll look at our opening hand here. I mean, it's good to see Steward of Gondor. If I mulligan, I might not get Steward of Gondor, and I want Steward of Gondor. So I think I'll keep it. I would maybe prefer a little more card draw, but just having Steward of Gondor such that I can play around 2 is a good thing. So here's the setup for the Nightmare version of the 7th level. We remove the following cards in the following quantities, and then we shuffle in the Nightmare cards. And this here at the bottom says does not stack. So there are new cards in the Nightmare version, the Nightmare deck, that have this ability. They're passive abilities that do not stack on top of each other. In my solo playthroughs, this usually doesn't really come into play, but it says some cards have passive abilities with the text, this ability does not stack with. While 2 or more effects that do not stack with one another are active, only one of them will affect the game state. So that may come into play, probably not, in solo at least. So it says we're playing Nightmare mode, and the only change to Nightmare other than the cards that are added is during the setup we set Overseer Marul and Chamber of Records aside out of play. They're two that's a boss enemy and a kind of a final location. Makes the quest a little bit more epic, a more exciting conclusion. The original quest is a little bit boring, so a big improvement, I think, in terms of fun factor. The force effect just has to do with when we advance to stage 2B, these cards will be added into play. Here is Search for the Chamber. You are investigating the 7th level of Moria, searching for the Chamber of Records and any sign of Balin's colony. In the heavy twilight of a hall, a bulky tome is discovered in the grip of a dwarf skeleton. You carefully take possession of the book. Perhaps it will give you some answers. For setup, we search the encounter deck. For Book of Mizarble, and have the first player attach it to a hero of his choice. Here is Book of Mizarble, and we'll attach it to Beravor. It says at the bottom, the attached hero cannot attack, but can defend, and does not exhaust to commit to a quest. So we'll quest with Beravor during the questing phase, and then use her action after having quested with her. 15 progress needed to advance. The dwarven rooms of the book appear to hold a detailed record of the fledgling colony but there is some elvish script at the end which seems out of place. When revealed, reveal 1 encounter card per player and add it to the staging area. Hopefully it won't be Cave Troll. It's not, it's Deep Mines. If it's Cave Troll, we're still okay. Its engagement is 33, but I don't like to see that right up front. Resource phase. And we're not going to use Berevor's action. And so we're just going to quest with Berevor, but not exhaust her because of Book of Mizarble. She does not exhaust to commit to a quest, and then we'll quest with Thalon. And we will reveal Watchful Eyes. When revealed, the first player attaches Watchful Eyes to one of his heroes. We saw this in the last quest. We'll attach it to Prince Imrahil because this effect, the force effect, just says if the hero is exhausted at the end of the combat phase, reveal 1 card from the encounter deck and add it to the staging area. But we were successful in the quest. We made a point of progress. We'll travel here to Deep Mines during the travel phase. There's a force effect when a goblin enters play, add 1 resource to that enemy if Deep Mines is in the staging area. So that is a new thing in this Nightmare version of this quest. There are resources that can be added to goblins, and it makes things a little more difficult. Let's use Berevor's action to draw 2 cards. And at the end of the combat phase, Prince Imrahil is not exhausted, so we don't have to reveal a card. Refresh. Next round. And we'll play Steward of Gondor in round 2. That was our hope and plan. We'll exhaust that and get the 2 resources back for Prince Imrahil. And so now he can play Sneak Attack Gandalf, which is good. Let's go ahead and remove Watchful Eyes by playing Miner of the Iron Hills. Response: after Miner of the Iron Hills enters play, choose and discard 1 condition attachment from play. We'll discard Watchful Eyes. And we'll go ahead and put out a Gondorian Spearman. And we're going to quest with Berevor and with Thalon, but we'll leave Prince Imrahil ready. And we reveal Goblin Spearman. He's damaged by Thalon. While Thalon is committed to a quest, deal 1 damage to each enemy as it is revealed by the encounter deck. This force effect says when a goblin enemy enters play, add 1 resource to that enemy, but only if it's in the staging area, so nothing bad happened there. Let's exhaust Berevor to draw 2 cards. And now we'll resolve the quest. We made a point of progress. Nowhere to travel. We'll engage Goblin Spearman. He will attack for 2. If it was undefended, it would be +2, but we're going to defend with Gondorian Spearman. Response: after Gondorian Spearman is declared as a defender, deal 1 damage to the attacking enemy. So we destroy Goblin Spearman. And that's good because there's a lot of shadows that we don't like. So, between Thalon and Gondorian Spearman, a lot of these 2 health enemies are just now offline, really. Refresh. Next round. Steward of Gondor. And we'll save this resource for a possible feint. I don't want to play Expecting Mischief blind. I really would like to get Hinemarth in hand, but we don't have him yet. So what we'll do is let's just go ahead, 1, 2, 3. Let's put out a Dunedain Watcher. There are some shadow cards that the biggest one is that if we defend with an ally, the shadow could make us discard the defending ally. So you really don't want to defend with allies. But now with Dunedain Watcher, we could. And then have her response ready in case something bad happened. But for now, we will quest with Berevor, with Thalon, and with Dunedain Watcher. But we won't quest with Prince Imrahil because we really aren't chumping. Prince Imrahil's response is going to come in play from really playing Gandalf more often. I just don't want to play Gandalf quite yet. So let's reveal Western Hall. All right. So we were not successful or unsuccessful in the quest. So this is going to have a passive effect. Each goblin enemy gets +1 threat for each resource on it. This ability does not stack with other copies of Western Hall. So if another one comes out, it's just like 1 copy applies. There's a travel effect. Add 1 resource to each goblin enemy in play. It's worth noting that you actually have to have a goblin receive a resource for this to be able, for us to be able to travel here, because each goblin cannot be 0. But all could be. If it said add 1 resource to all goblins, then you could travel here and say, I'm putting 0 resources out. But just keep that in mind. Let's exhaust Berevor. Drawing 2 cards. We're getting some card draw going here. And so things are opening up. Refresh. Next round. And we will go ahead. This is where let's just spend 3 resources to play Tome of Atanatar. This is a new card attached to a leadership hero, which will obviously be Prince Hammerhill. Reduce the cost to play Tome of Atanatar by 1 for each hero you control with a printed leadership resource icon. I control 1, so it costs me 3 instead of 4. Obviously, in a mono leadership deck, this is really powerful. But the action that we can take is to discard Tome of Atanatar to play any leadership event in your discard pile as if it were in your hand. Then place that event on the bottom of your deck. And so the obvious target is Sneak Attack. I'm not going to play any other cards at this point. Let's just go ahead at the beginning of questing. Let's Sneak Attack Gandalf into play. And rather than lowering our threat, or obviously we can't deal damage, let's draw 3 cards. And we'll commit, as much willpower as we can. We'll even commit Prince Immerhill, knowing that at the end of the questing phase, Gandalf's going to come back to hand and ready Prince Immerhill. So we're making as much progress as we can. Remember, Bearvor does not exhaust to commit to the quest because of Book of Mizarble. And we reveal Upper Hall, Doom 2. And we made 3 progress. And so we'll have to be careful. We have a lot of threat. And so, sneak attacking Gandalf in is going to be crucial to get our willpower out. We also need Faramir in play to just keep from getting location locked. Let's exhaust Bearvor to draw 2 cards. There's what I've been really wanting to see, Hinnemarth. Gandalf comes back to hand at the end of questing, which readies Prince Immerhill response. After a character leaves play, ready Prince Immerhill, limit once per round. All right, refresh, and next round. Let's exhaust Steward of Gondor. Keep in mind, Tome of Atanatar is unique, so I have 3 in the deck, but only 1 can be out at a time, so there's a slight limitation there. Let's put out Hinnemarth Riversong. And we will use Hinnemarth's action, exhaust Hinnemarth Riversong, to look at the top card of the encountered deck. All right, it is Orc Taskmaster. Now, he is not a goblin, so all of these effects like this one here, and even this one would not interact with Orc Taskmaster. So we will, knowing he's coming out, so he has 6 health. Thalin's going to damage him. We could use Gandalf's response to put 4 on him, and then we could Gondorian Spearman him out of play. But I don't think we have to do that this round. He only contributes 1 threat. So what we're going to do is just try to clear Deep Mines. So let's do that by sneak attacking Gandalf into play at the beginning of questing. And we'll draw 3 cards. And now we'll commit all of our willpower here, including Prince Immerhill. And I think we're going to clear Deep Mines. Let's reveal Orc Taskmaster when revealed. Add 1 resource to each goblin enemy in play. There aren't any, so that just fizzles. There is a force effect when a goblin enemy with at least 1 resource on it is dealt any amount of damage. Remove 1 resource from that enemy and cancel all damage just dealt to it. We made 2 progress, and so we have kept from getting location locked. We've cleared Deep Mines. During the travel phase, we can't travel to Western Hall because there are no goblin enemies for us to put a resource token on. And remember, the word each does not allow the value to be 0. So we'll travel here to Upper Hall, which is good. We're getting rid of some threat there. Gandalf came back to hand at the end of questing. Prince Immerhill readied because of his response. Thalin did damage Orc Taskmaster when he came out. Let's exhaust Bearvor to draw 2 cards. And we'll refresh and move on to the next round. A Steward of Gondor. And now we'll play Daeron's Runes. Draw 2 cards, then discard 1 from your hand. We'll discard a Steward of Gondor here. Let's look at what's coming with Hinnemarth. His action will reveal Goblin Swordsman. So Orc Taskmaster is going to not put a resource token on Goblin Swordsman. Yeah, there's nothing right now that's going to put a resource token on Goblin Swordsman, so it won't matter this forced effect. So let's think about what we want to do here. Let's go ahead and play Deep Knowledge, Doom 2, and draw 2 cards. And then I guess we can go ahead and put out a Knights of the Swan. Oops, that's faint. Here is Knights of the Swan. And he's going to boost each Outland's character by +1 attack. Let's put out a second Gondorian Spearman. So we'll have 2 of them. And we still have the ability to play a feint if needed. We also have Wizard's Voice, which costs no resources. Let's put out 2 Amphalos Herdsmen. And of course, each one of them boosts Outland's characters by +1 hit point. So we're at 2. And then Knights of the Swan is boosting Amphalos Herdsmen. And we're going to quest here. We're not going to sneak attack Gandalf into play. We could. Well, actually, let's do it. So we will say that we sneak attack Gandalf into play before committing characters during that action window. And we can do that by using the action on Tome of Atanatar. Action discard Tome of Atanatar to play any leadership event in your discard pile as if it were in your hand. Then place that event on the bottom of your deck. So to play it as if it's in our hand, we have to spend a resource. Just the thought is it's in our hand. And after playing it, we move it to the bottom of our deck. Gandalf sneaks into play. And we're going to actually put 4 damage on Orc Taskmaster. And so we'll include his willpower in the questing total. And we reveal Goblin Swordsman. This here would boost Goblin Swordsman if there was resources on it. There aren't any. We'll make 4 progress, though, and clear Upper Hall. And perfect timing on this guy. He was damaged by Thalon. Gandalf comes back to hand, readying Prince Imrahil. We'll exhaust Bearvor to draw 2 cards. There's Faramir. We'll get all the willpower we need now. And so now we can actually get rid of Western Hall because there is a goblin enemy in play. Western Hall says travel, add 1 resource to each goblin enemy in play. So to travel here, which we can put a resource token on Goblin Swordsman. This here does say each goblin enemy gets +1 threat for each resource token on it. So currently, technically, he has +1 threat. And this forced effect is protecting Goblin Swordsman. Force, when a goblin enemy with at least 1 resource on it is dealt any amount of damage, remove 1 resource from that enemy and cancel all damage dealt to it. Okay, during the encounter phase, we're going to optionally engage Orc Taskmaster, and then engagement checks, Goblin Swordsman comes down. And now Orc Taskmaster will let him go first. He's going to attack, will defend with Gondorian Spearman. In response, of course, after Gondorian Spearman is declared as a defender, deal 1 damage to the attacking enemy, so he is destroyed, meaning this resource token doesn't do anything to protect Goblin Swordsman anymore. So he's going to attack. We'll declare Gondorian Spearman as a defender. It destroys Goblin Swordsman. And we'll refresh. Next round. Let's play Deep Knowledge, Doom 2 to draw 2 cards. Steward of Gondor. So we have no more sneak attacks, but we do have a Tome of Atanatar. So 1, 2, 3. That's what it costs us. Let's play Tome of Atanatar and attach it to Prince Imrahil. And then we'll use Hinemarth to look at what's coming. Okay, so Balin's Doom is going to surge and just Doom 1. The win reveal won't matter, but we don't know what's coming quite yet. I think just defensively, I'm going to go ahead and play here in a minute and expecting Mischief, but let's put out. Well, we'll hang on to our resources. Well, no, we do have Wizard's Voice, so let's put out Knights of the Swan. Whoops. And so now each Outland's character is boosted by +2 attack, as well as +2 hit points. And then we will, I'm not quite worried about my willpower yet, so I'm not going to put out Faramir until next round, because potentially there's a card called Beats and Drums, and I would like to have fresh tracks available to me, and I definitely want resources so that I can play sneak attack. So let's quest, even with Prince Imrahil. Remember, Bearvor does not exhaust to commit to the quest. No willpower on any of these characters, and we don't have Faramir out yet. So let's reveal Balin's Doom, which is going to surge, and Doom 1. When revealed, add 1 resource to each goblin enemy in play. There aren't any. Surges into Goblin Swordsman, and So he is damaged by Thalon, and we made 5 points of progress. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We've cleared Western Hall. So no, there was no resources on Goblin Swordsman and no threat increase. Okay, during the travel phase, nowhere to go. During the encounter phase, here comes Goblin Swordsman. He'll get a shadow. Let's use Bear of War to draw 2 cards. And then Gondorian Spearman destroys Goblin Swordsman. And I'd just like to see what the shadow was. Refresh. Next round. Steward of Gondor. Here's Hinnemarth telling us what's coming. Okay, so we haven't really had a whole lot. We've had a lot of enemies, but we haven't seen like Cave Troll or anything. So let's try to go ahead and progress. I think we might can make enough progress to advance here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe. I'm not sure. Let's put out Faramir. And then we'll save these resources. Actually, no. Let's just play a Dunedain Watcher. So I think we'll wait around to actually advance. But I think we want to make some good progress and maybe lower our threat. Not really too worried about card draw. So let's sneak attack Gandalf into play. At the beginning of the quest phase, we'll take this action, discard Tome of Atanatar to play any leadership event in your discard pile as if it were in your hand. And so I just spent the resource just a little bit ago. I played it before discarding the card. But so we're going to play this sneak attack as if it's in our hand, moving it to the bottom of our deck. And we'll sneak attack Gandalf into play and lower our threat by 5. And we're going to quest. And so right now there'll be 11 progress. If we want to, we could advance. I don't think I really quite want to. This is going to be 11 minus 2 will make 9 progress. But then we can just maybe see 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so I want to be careful not to make too much progress here. There's going to be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So yeah, that's exactly what I want. We'll reveal Goblin Tunnels. When Goblin Tunnels is in the staging area, it gains a force effect. After a goblin is revealed from the encounter deck, remove a progress token from the current quest card. Let's exhaust Faramir to boost for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we made 12 progress, which is 14. We're just not, I didn't want to advance, so we've made just the maximum amount necessary before we can advance. Gandalf comes back to hand. We'll exhaust Bear of War to draw 2 cards. And actually, I should have done that. There wasn't an action window until after the travel opportunity. So let's travel here. Then we do Bear of War's action. And now we will refresh. Move on to the next round. Let's play Daron's Runes to draw 2 cards. And we'll discard Hinnemarth River Song. We'll play Deep Knowledge, Doom 2, drawing 2 cards. We'll play Daron's Runes, drawing 2 cards and discarding Faramir. We'll put out our third Amphalos Herdsman. And so now all Alden's characters have +3 health and +2 attack. Let's look at what's coming with Hinnemarth. It is Goblin Swordsman. Steward of Gondor. I'm not going to put out Tome of Atanatar quite yet. Okay, so we can easily make the necessary progress. We just need to quest for 7 + 1 + 1. We need to make 9 progress. Let's see what we got here. So that's going to be 5 + 6, 7, 8, 9. That's what we need. And remember, Bear of War does not exhaust a quest. We reveal Goblin Swordsman. He's damaged by Thalon. We use Faramir's action, boosting all of these allies or characters by +1 willpower. 1, 2, 3, 4. We made 8 progress, which is 7 + 1. So we did clear stage 1B. And so now we advance to the fate of Balin. You have discovered the chamber. Before you lies the resting place of Balin, last lord of Moria. The final portion of the book tells the grim tale. Balin was slain in the Dimriel Dale, and the dwarves were then trapped in the mines. It seems as if there are no survivors. You stand silently by his tomb, but cannot tarry. Orc war cries and horns sound close. You leave the cumbersome book as a testament to the dwarves' valor, and prepare to fight your way out, lest Balin's fate becomes your own. So before we actually advance, let me try to remember what this does to goblins. Yeah, this would add resources to him, and it's immune to player card effects, to events. Yes, I don't care. I was thinking, do I want to use fresh tracks to just destroy goblin swordsmen? But I'd rather hang on to these resources. So there's a win revealed, but there's a force effect. Force effects always take priority. Force, when stage 2B is revealed, make Chamber of Records the active location, returning any current active location to the staging area. And add Overseer Marul to the staging area, then shuffle all copies of Balin's Doom in the encounter discard pile back into the encounter deck. So here is Overseer Marul. And again, all Balin's Dooms, which are Treacheries, there's just one, is shuffled back into the encounter deck. And then when revealed, remove Book of Mizarble from the game. So let's just delete that. Well, we don't have an action window yet. We're still in quest resolution. There's a force effect at the end of the staging step where we'll reveal X cards, adding any enemies, discarding anything else without results. But that'll happen at the end of each staging step. If we win the stage, we won the game. Okay, so we have an action window here. Let's exhaust Bearvor to draw 2 cards. And you remember we have sneak attack at the bottom of our deck. So, we've cycled through almost all of our sneak attacks. We don't have to be too stingy with those. So let's look at these cards that came into play. Chamber of Records is immune to player card effects. It says each goblin enemy with at least 1 resource on it is immune to player events. Obviously in a multiplayer game, 4 players, you might have a lot more goblins kind of engage with various people, with some of them having resources. So there's a lot more dynamic sort of interplay in multiplayer, but in solo, it's not too big a deal. We can keep things clear to where these things don't happen to us too much. The one time that the encounter set can get ahead of us is with beats and drums, but it's kind of fun when that happens. Force, when a goblin enemy engages a player, add 2 resources to that enemy. So that's going to happen when this goblin swordsman engages us. Overseer Marul is not a goblin. It's going to get +1 threat or +X threat, plus X attack, plus X defense, where X is the highest number of resources on a goblin enemy in play. It says players cannot win the game unless Overseer Marul is in the victory display. Okay, so we can't travel anywhere. During the encounter phase, both of these enemies will engage us because our threat is at 42. And of course, Overseer Marul is currently boosted, but we're just going to defend with, he got 2 resources when he engaged us. Force, when a goblin enemy engages a player, add 2 resources to that enemy. And so that means Overseer Marul is boosted. This means that this goblin is immune now to player events, but Gondorian Spearman is not an event. It's an ally with a response, so it destroys Goblin Swordsman. And now Overseer Marul is no longer boosted, and we're going to play a feint. I could play Wizard's Voice, but we'll just play feint rather. It costs us 1 resource to cancel his attack. And we'll sneak attack Gandalf into play. And we'll lower our threat by 5. And so now we just need to attack for 15 to destroy Overseer Marul. We've got that. 3, 7, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. So 18 minus 3 is 15 damage. And so he goes to the victory display. And it says we cannot win the game unless this guy is in the victory display. So he's gone. And Gandalf comes back to hand, which readies Prince Imrahil. Not that it matters. Refresh. And then next round. Whoops, didn't mean to hit that. Okay, there's our last sneak attack. But actually, we do have a book of Tome of Atanatar, so we can make use of that. Let's see what's coming with Hinnemarth. It is Goblin Spearman. Let's go ahead and play our 3rd Tome of Atanatar. And that'll just give us the ability to play a sneak attack again. Now Bearvor has to exhaust to commit to the quest. Let's think about what we want to do here. We actually probably can just win the quest. I'm not sure, but I'll just be a little defensive. I don't want to waste your time doing a whole lot of math. We might take 2 rounds, maybe not, but let's put out another Knights of the Swan. So +3 attack across the board on our Outlands characters, +3 hit points. And I don't really want to put out a Gondorian Spearman necessarily. And then we will exhaust. Well, we're not going to exhaust Bear of War to draw 2 cards. Let's sneak attack Gandalf into play and lower our threat by 5. We're going to quest. And we just want to basically clear Chamber of Records this round. I don't know. We might could win it. Let's just see what we do here. There is this end of the staging step thing, but we're not too worried about that. All right, so we reveal. I want to leave Gondorian Spearman ready. And we reveal Goblin Spearman. He's going to be damaged by Thalon. And this says, so we're in staging right now. Each goblin enemy with at least 1 resource on it is immune to player events, and he'll only get resources when he engages us. So that was the staging. And then we have actions. During that action window, let's exhaust Faramir to boost for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so that was the action window, and now it's this forced effect at the end of the staging step. So that would be after the action window. Staging step includes staging and the action window. That's the whole step. At the end of the staging step, reveal the top X cards of the encounter deck, adding all enemies to the staging area. Discard the other revealed cards without resolving them. So we're not worried about locations or treacheries. So any enemies would be revealed, anything else just discarded. It's not an enemy, so it doesn't do anything, it's just discarded. We made 20 progress, which is going to be 12 on the current quest. And this goes to the victory display. Gandalf comes back to hand. Ready and Prince Imrahil. Goblin Spearman engages us. Gondorian Spearman damages him and destroys him. And this will be the last round. Refresh, next round. So rather than playing the sneak attack in hand, let's see what's coming with Hinamarth. Okay, we don't really know. So this could be kind of fun. We might as well play Expecting Mischief, I think. 1, 2, let's put out Gondorian Spearman, our third one. And we'll put out our third Dunedain Watcher. So we've got all of our allies out except for Miner of the Iron Hills, which, yeah, let's put them out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's put out all of our allies. I don't know that I've necessarily been able to do that ever through any of our playthroughs. I've done a few playthroughs to get this recording right. I've won every single one, but I just feel like the previous ones were just kind of boring and didn't really show how the deck works, and so that's why I'm talking about multiple playthroughs. Okay, at the beginning of questing, we'll take this action on Tome of Atanatar, discard Tome of Atanatar to play any leadership event in your discard pile as if it were in your hand. So I have to spend a resource to do that, to play Sneak Attack, and I will move Sneak Attack to the bottom of my deck. And I'll exhaust Bear of War to draw that Sneak Attack. Now we Sneak Attacked Gandalf into play, and we'll lower our threat by 5. And so we'll commit characters. We're going to go all out, pretty much. Not pretty much, we're just going to go all out, might as well. Including Gondorian Spearman and all that, because we're going to win it here. Before staging, let's go ahead and spend Bear of War's last resource to pay for Expecting Mischief. Play during the quest phase before the staging step. Deal 2 damage to the first enemy revealed from the encounter deck this phase. So we'll just put that out. And now we have staging. We reveal Balin's Tomb, which is going to surge, Doomed 1. When revealed, add 1 resource to each goblin enemy in play. There aren't any. Doom 1 puts us at 30. And then Goblin Skirmisher is damaged by Thalon, and then Expecting Mischief just takes him out. Pretty cool. Now we've got the action window after staging. Let's exhaust Faramir to boost everybody. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So that's going to be 28 total willpower. That's the action window. And now at the end of staging, we have this forced effect. Reveal one card. If it's an enemy, it is revealed and added. Otherwise, it's just discarded. That card's going to be Cave Troll. All right, so he's damaged by Thalon. And we made 24 progress, which is going to be 26 total. No, excuse me. 24 plus 12 is 36. And that's it. It says if the players defeat the stage, they win the game. And we did. And, if we had Cave Troll come out at some point, we could have, maybe early on, this is the biggest problem you could run into is an early Cave Troll, but Thalon's going to take away 1 hit point at least. Then maybe Gandalf damages for 4. That's 5. And then maybe, you can put the other damage on through a Fresh Tracks. Or, for sure, Expecting Mischief would be good. Thalon plus Expecting Mischief is 3 plus Gandalf. That's going to be enough to destroy Cave Troll. So there's math that works out to where we can easily deal with him. We can also play Feint, which we didn't have to do a whole lot because of Gondorian Spearmen. But we do have these 3 copies of Feint and the Wizard's Voice to deal with some enemies that could be a problem early on. But, once you get card draw going, you have all the options available. And so depending on what comes due to Faramir's ability, you can just, like here's Pit Goblin. If we knew he was coming, Thalon's going to take off 1 hit point. And then maybe we play Expecting Mischief and or Fresh Tracks or just, the Gondorian Spearman's response. So we can just take care of enemies really as they come out. That's the idea. Well, that is it. That's a quest. We won it in 11 rounds. Not too difficult. You can lose. If I've played a game the other day where I had a Cave Troll come out during round 1, and then during round 2, another one came out. And I think I had an Orc Taskmaster reveal during round 1. So I just had a lot of enemies, and I did get a little bit overrun there, but that's very rare. Hope you enjoyed the quest. As always, I appreciate you joining me, and that you will again next time. Again, thanks. Hope you have a great day. Bye.